You know, with all these recent One Piece episodes, people have been going crazy about the animation. We have Sanji versus Queen, Zoro versus King, and now we're going to have Big Mom versus Law and Kid. But I think everyone's forgetting the big fight that's going to be animated soon.
What's that?
Bucky versus Usopp. Hey guys, welcome back to bizarreanimevibes. I'm your host Jofu, and I'm here with
Drip Night.
And in today's episode, we're talking about a pretty good series. You know, some of us hold it to a high regard. Other of us aren't so smart enough to do so. Of course, we're talking about peak fiction, the best, One Piece. One Piece.
I'll think about say Sailor Moon for a second.
That's a good one.
It's a good contender.
Knowing you probably would have responded with Seven Deadly Sins. But we're actually talking about good stuff today, not...
You just gotta take a dig at me, don't you?
I mean, I'm making
a dig on my standards.
If those are your standards, you're doing that to yourself.
Look, if we ever make a tier list, I'm telling you, there's a way I could convince you to maybe with Seven Deadly Sins, maybe A tier or S tier. There's a possible way I could maybe convince.
We're gonna do that one day.
A tier list?
Oh yeah.
All the animes we watched.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, back to talking about an actually good anime, One Piece. So, we have been wanting to discuss the most recent episodes of Sanji versus Zoro because
it's a legend. It's legendary,
and the community has been going off because the Sanji episode, great story, great animation, held to a high regard. It was popping off. And the Zoro episode happened, great animation, great story, held to another high regard. And of course, just like in show, wait, my voice died. And just like in the show, ironically, the fan base is divided between Zoro and Sanji, and they just go at each other. And Twitter is it's unreal how some of these people think. Like, I'll say this.
Okay, unreal as in their opinions are unreal?
Yes.
Unreal as in...
all of the above.
Oh, well.
Like, I'll say this. I definitely am more of a Sanji fan than I am a Zoro fan. All right, there goes half our viewers. But with Sanji, I understand he's weaker than Zoro. I understand. I'm not like one of those, Sanji's peak character. However, if you're a Zoro fan and someone tells you Sanji is like Yonko commander level, one, all of a sudden you're trash and blah, blah. Or there was one person I saw, I don't even remember the tweet, but basically he was saying in terms of, he was ranking all the Sanji, Zoro, Luffy in terms of which one has the highest of each stat. So it's like, out of 10, Luffy has the best Conqueror Saki, Zoro has like a 9, Sanji has a 0. Makes sense, right?
Because I don't know if I give Zoro a 9 and Conqueror.
Oh yeah, but you know what I mean, like Sanji has zeros. Okay, so stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Sanji doesn't have Conquerors. But then I saw, for speed, he gave Sanji a 4, Luffy a 10, and Zoro a 9.
Goku with Gear 2nd activated.
Sanji is the fastest Straw Hat. At least out of those three, he's the second fastest. Only losing to Brook. Brook's the GOAT. But
well, really? I know Brook will run on water, but
he can also move so fast that you can't even see him as attack. Anything
right with the ice. You're right. I thought he was just going invisible, like doing spirit stuff.
No, he's just so fast that literally Brook is the fastest Straw Hat. But again, but Luffy is faster in Gear or Sanji, whatever. You get the idea. But the point is, people have been bashing Sanji, and people on Twitter, Sanji fans have been bashing Zoro. And so today in this episode, we want to come to that fight, come to a conclusion, figure out who's better.
Yeah, from a non-biased point of view, because we both love Sanji and we both love Zoro. Mm-hmm. So I think we both have point of views that do not upset either crowd, or we're going to upset both crowds.
We're going to upset both.
So there's no winning.
Complimenting either side is upsetting the other.
Well, fine. We can't please them all, then we'll try our best. Well, of course, before we do all that, I think there's something we shall both say to you guys right now, and it is, thank you very much for your support. Without you guys, we will not be able to do this, become bizarre anime vibes, talk about opinions, be able to sit on this couch and just have a good time. And we greatly do appreciate for you sacrificing time and watching us.
Mm-hmm. And real quick, don't forget to colossal smash that like button to stay up to date with all our videos and subscribe. So, without further ado, let's dive into it. Also, just going to give a heads up before we start this episode. I also want to say sorry for missing last week's episode. We were at MomoCon and we were going to film a similar video we did to the Anime Week in Atlanta one where we go around interviewing people, but somebody left the camera at home, so we weren't able to record Zoro versus Sanji. First things first, Sanji. Let's discuss that, as that was the first episode to drop.
God damn. Okay. For me, a little context should be a little set for me. I'm still on Dressrosa. It was thanks to this man right here why I am even knowing what these 2 episodes are. Because he told me, shut up, just turn on the TV and watch. I didn't understand why, because I thought it was just going to be another, clips. But no, it was a full episode of just beautiful. The last time he's done this was Red Rock. And now here we are, back-to-back weeks. What is it, back-to-back?
It was Sanji filler episode of Zoro.
Okay, so it was in the same month. So having twice, having your best friend come to you, bang to your house, telling you that you need to shut up and trust him and watch this episode. And honestly, I was kind of blown away. With the Sanji one already, first, I want to say 5 minutes is where I was like, this is not a regular episode. This is not the typical bread and butter.
Right off the wait, you know what they say? If a One Piece episode doesn't have a recap, then it's going to be a peak episode. So I just started off with the title sequence.
Can you please say the Zoro's episode?
We'll get to that when we get there.
Okay, so with that context, kind of aside, story-wise, I do not know really what's going on. I didn't know fully about the beef with Queen and Sanji, but they did fill me in a little bit with the episode, Queen being invisible and then hitting a woman and Sanji thinking that he was guilty. With that part kind of filled in, it made me understand why Sanji's more pissed at Queen, but I didn't fully feel it. In the Sanji's episode, something that kind of honestly caught me off guard was that it wasn't the action that just looked good. It was the dialogue that looked good. It was characters' faces looked good. And it was honestly the backgrounds looked good.
They made sure everything looked crisp.
They did not miss. When it comes to details, they did not miss. And there's, of course, a single frame of that episode that's if I could probably get down a wall scroll, I would. I would pay instantly to get down a wall scroll. So, honestly, that's why I really loved the episode. The attention to detail and the fact that felt like no stone was unturned.
I can definitely agree with that. I would say that the Sanji episode, in terms of story beats, hit different. Seeing the Sanji fight with his internal battle between family, turning into a monster, and being who he is for Luffy, and I think that definitely played a big factor in it. And in terms of enjoyment, and definitely elevated Sanji's character to be a lot more than just a kinky cook, as some would say. It really showed that he had a lot more behind him than just that, and I think the way it was executed and animated really helped. I've always said that in terms of what a perfect anime adaptation is, in my opinion, is it adapts everything from the manga, but adds to it where a manga cannot, but an anime can, because there's a lot you can show in animation that you can't show in manga, or at least on the same level. So for an anime adaptation to be perfect for me, I want them to adapt what happened in the manga, but add to it. And then this episode did it perfectly. Especially with, they're saying the dream sequence.
I guess I can't really add on that part because I never read the manga. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if they added anything or if they just got rid of anything. So
can't say they did. They got rid of the final panel of when Sanji kicks Queen, but it's fine because you still get the idea of what happened. Yeah, he kicked him and set him flying.
That's when they did the black and white and
blue and white, but yeah.
Blue, oh yeah. Well, it was blue, black a little because you see just the black ones. So it made it more intense. And then you saw Queen just getting shot like a bullet
out the castle. But I think from the story, this episode is where it shined even more than animation, because Sanji's internal battle has always been a big thing with him. So all the way since Whole Cake Island. So so for it to finally come to somewhat of a conclusion here, after it's kind of shafted in Whole Cake, it's kind of a great resolution, because it's showing that Oda didn't just want to write off that plot point and add it onto it in the next arc, which shows continuity, but also it gives a lot more to Sanji's character, to where I feel like his character is finally full and complete. we're just missing that final ingredient that we're probably going to get in the final saga. But this is the Sanji that we know and love. And for it finally comes to a conclusion with the defeat of Queen.
Yeah. You know what? I think that's a beautiful way to wrap up Sanji's like little bow tie, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Granted, I can't really think of anything else that like Sanji has like trauma now, really, because he denied the power of his Vinsmoke, but
He denounced the name Vinsmoke.
Denounced it. He got new power, seeing how Blue Flames representing that,
And a metallic body. Well,
yeah,
our exoskeleton, as we put it.
basically very hard to break.
Exoskeleton, higher speed, blue flames, all that nonsense. And overall, I would rate the episode a solid. I honestly both Zoro and Sanji for 10 out of 10 in my opinion. That's just me.
I mean, if you want to have perfect episodes, I think that's a gold standard. All right, I started with the Sanji, so I'll let you start with the Zoro.
All right. Animation carried. All right, that's good. Wrap back. I thank you guys so much for watching. Okay, but for real, it was good. I will say I preferred Sanji episode in terms of story more, even though the story of King's backstory and how he ended up with Kaido and how similar it was to Zoro and Luffy and how they had the parallels was great. I do like Sanji more, which probably plays a big factor, but I will admit, in terms of animation, the Zoro episode can blew it out of the waters. I'm trying to think, and I can't think of it. Hell, that was better than all of Film Red's animation combined. I'm sorry.
Damn.
Film Red's,
Damn.
it was literally better.
That's a movie level production you're comparing it to.
Yeah, and it's crazy how they used all of it for music videos.
Shots fired.
Literally, the Sanji episode looked as good as Film Red.
Okay, so
The final,
it look good as Film Red, or did it look better than?
it looked as good as the final sequence in Film Red, the final attack that had the most emphasis.
What about coming to Stampede?
Stampede, it was like, what, 5 years ago? Shut up.
Fair enough.
Oh, how was that episode about One Piece? Oh, what about when Luffy fought Lucci in Eni's lobby back in the early 2000s? You can't that today. That looks like, I swear, like, shut up.
You just don't want to accept the fact that nostalgia is holding them back. Easily, nostalgia is just it's like your kryptonite. Like, whoa, like, come on, like, people are still saying, like, you know, like, this is a little alternative, but like Dragon Ball Z, people are still saying Dragon Ball Z animation far surpassed Dragon Ball Super animation.
There's a difference between preferring a certain animation style and thinking one looks better than one is better in terms of animation and all that, because logically speaking, new episodes look better animation-wise. Not always, but like the Zoro episode, that's the best animated episode in One Piece in my opinion, with maybe the exception of 10-15.
Yeah. Actually, wait, let me try my statement. Technically speaking, if you count Dragon Ball Z movies, there is a movie that we both or anyone could think of that kind of is on par with Dragon Ball Super animation. So don't hate me too much there. Just gonna leave that out there.
Why were we talking about Dragon Ball? I thought it was a One Piece episode.
Toei. Still Toei?
No. Anyway, yeah, those are my thoughts on the Zoro episode. I thought it was really good.
Oh, my opinions. Yeah.
Animation was better than story.
Hated it. Okay, hated the beginning. Because immediately the beginning, what do we get? It was our recap. And then we got our recap to that recap. And then we immediately, once we jumped outside, like once the battle went from inside the building to outside, that's when the levels start turning. And this is something that we both agreed upon was in Zoro's episode, why did King look so much better than Zoro? Why did Zoro look like he was trying to compete with King when it should be King trying to compete with Zoro? Like, King just had, like, for the impact moments.
In conclusion, I'm going to say this. In terms of story, Sanji's episode was better. In terms of animation, Zoro's episode was better. Not to say either one was lacking. However, if I had to choose a better one, I would say, personally, I would choose Sanji's episode over Zoro. But if I just want to see pretty animation, I'm going to Zoro's.
One is art, and one is animation.
Also, technically, the correct answer is to watch Zoro's episode, because you get the recap at the beginning, so you get to see the best parts of Sanji's episodes anyway.
No, because they didn't show the dream landscape.
You get to see what matters.
Yeah, see him kicking the queen's ass.
Your final thoughts?
My final thoughts. Direct and fully honest, I'm always gonna be stuck across Sanji's episode. I really do wish Zoro had more, I guess, flair in his episode. But granted, of what he got,
Had more flair.
okay,
Swords are literally on fire. We do think the Sanji episode was better in terms of narrative. And for me, I at least focus more narrative than I do animation. Even though I think animation does play a big part in my enjoyment. The narrative for Sanji was just... I actually prefer animation over story a lot of time. However, the Sanji narrative story was just so good that it actually beat the animation for Zoro for me. So yeah, that is my final thoughts. You made yours a little too apparent. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed, don't forget to colossal smash that like button to stay up to date with all our stuff. Subscribe, you know the gist. Thank you again so much for watching, and you guys have a nice one.